Since casting is such an integral part of any film, directors will typically hold auditions for key roles. This means that even some of the biggest stars in the industry have to try out before they sign on for a project, regardless of how talented they are. Sometimes these screen tests don't always go so well. It doesn't matter if the thespian in question has won numerous awards throughout their career. There's always a chance they're just not the best fit for a certain role, and they find that out the hard way. Here are 10 talented actors with the scariest audition stories. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Eddie Redmayne. Eddie Redmayne has received an Oscar for playing Stephen Hawking, and is now a part of J.K. Rowling's famed wizarding world. But there is one thing we know he can't do: be a villain in a Star Wars film. Redmayne was one of the actors who read for Kylo Ren during pre-production on The Force Awakens, and it's safe to say he bombed his audition. Due to the secrecy of the project, Redmayne was reciting lines from other movies and only knew his would-be character was a bad guy. He started doing a poor Darth Vader impression and spoke in a funny voice, which didn't win over the casting directors. At least he has Newt's commander, Aaron Paul. The Breaking Bad star had a minor role in J.J. Abrams' Mission Impossible 3, so it's no surprise he met with the filmmaker again while Abrams was working on Cloverfield. When Paul arrived for the audition, Abrams had the actor tell a story of a cool card trick he performed during Mission Impossible 3, which caused Paul to lose his train of thought. Instead of delivering a 3-page monologue he memorized, Paul had to stop in the middle of it and apologize. All Abrams said was, "That's okay, thanks for coming in," and Paul left without the part. But shortly after, he became Jesse Pinkman, so it all worked out. Blake Lively. Lively looked to make movies at a very young age, trying out for the hit comedy Mrs. Doubtfire when she was just 5 years old. Blake's mom didn't want her daughter to get starstruck by Robin Williams, so she told Blake that she'd be reading with the comedian's twin brother. When Lively walked in, the filmmakers introduced her to the one and only Robin Williams, and Blake's response was, "You're not his twin?" You can probably guess how things went after that. When Blake came out of the room, she told Mom that Williams had morning breath and moved on. Now that Lively is a successful actress, she can laugh about that mishap. Chris Evans. These days, people are in awe to meet Captain America, but prior to the actor's Marvel days, it was the other way around. Evans met with Ben Affleck to audition for the Boston Legend's directorial debut, Gone Baby Gone. Upon arriving, Evans became nervous and asked Affleck if the parking spot he chose was okay. After an awkward conversation about parking meters ensued, Evans was mortified and couldn't wait to leave the room. He was so upset that he gave Affleck one-word answers to any question asked, and kept rocking in the chair he was sitting in. Now that they're both established superheroes, maybe Affleck and Evans can work together one day. Chris Pine. Chris Pine made a name for himself as the new Captain Kirk in the rebooted Star Trek series, but he could have had a role in a different 2009 sci-fi blockbuster. Pine was in the running for James Cameron's Avatar, but his audition went horribly. Recalling the experience, Pine mentioned that he went into the room not believing in himself as he tried to picture Cameron's ambitious vision for the film. He stopped halfway through his reading, and the casting director was either smiling or laughing at him. Neither one would be ideal, and the role of Jake Sully eventually went to Sam Worthington. Pine has led 3 successful Star Trek movies, so it's clear he's got talent. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal has emerged as a chameleon actor, capable of completely transforming himself for a role, but he steered clear of big-budget productions. Maybe his awful experience auditioning for Lord of the Rings played a role in that. Gyllenhaal read for Frodo, but nobody told the actor that the character had an English accent.
Alright then, keep your secrets.
Gyllenhaal recited his lines in an American accent, which didn't please Peter Jackson. The director told Gyllenhaal to fire his agents, and felt it was one of the worst auditions he'd seen. This is why it's always best to prepare as much as possible, a lesson Gyllenhaal seems to have learned.
Hey! Lay your palm flat on that tabletop!
Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo has played everything from a sleazy stockbroker, to a dream thief, to a vicious slave owner in his career, so there's very little he can't do. Director Baz Luhrmann discovered one limitation of DiCaprio while casting Moulin Rouge: singing. Leo admitted he feels he has a horrible singing voice, but tried out for the musical anyway. Luhrmann played piano while DiCaprio sang a tune, and when the Oscar winner reached a high note, Luhrmann stopped and said, "I don't know if this conversation should continue." Leo has acted in numerous genres, but this is one he probably won't audition for again. Some people just aren't cut out for singing. Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper quickly rose to the top of the A-list, thanks to a trio of Oscar-nominated performances that made him an award season mainstay. But before he became a critical darling, his career could have taken a different trajectory. Cooper was one of the names considered for 2011's Green Lantern, but the actor didn't really take his audition seriously. His screen test amounted to doing an impersonation of Christian Bale's gravelly voiced Batman, when the casting people wanted him to just talk normally. Cooper didn't get the role, and that turned out to be a bullet dodged. Now we're just wondering when he'll win his Academy Award, instead of how he'll recover from a flop. Daniel Radcliffe. You know the old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it? Even a kind-hearted hero like Harry Potter forgets that sometimes. While in an audition, Daniel Radcliffe was gossiping about somebody when another person came walking into the room. Radcliffe continued his story, and when he finished, he came to the sobering realization that the person he was talking about was a good friend of who Radcliffe had to audition for. We don't know which movie this was, but it's safe to say it's not a project on the actor's IMDb page. Talk about an awkward situation.
Who are you?
Me? I'm Hit Girl.
Chloe Grace Moretz. The legendary Martin Scorsese is a director every actor dreams of working with, and when auditioning for him, there's no limits to what people will attempt to get in his favor. When trying out for one of the lead roles in Scorsese's love letter to cinema, Hugo, Chloe Grace Moretz rolled the dice and told the filmmaker a little lie. The Georgia-born actress told Marty that she was British and tried to pass it off so she could get the part. Apparently, Chloe is good at fudging up the truth, since Scorsese cast her in Hugo. If he was impressed, Moretz did something right. Those are just some of the worst audition stories from the A-listers. Which ones did we miss? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see more videos.